Biden now trying to pressure the media into giving him better coverage. The White House is not happy with how the press has been talking about inflation and the supply crisis. So a group of senior officials are reportedly holding secret meetings with major outlets and are trying to convince them coerce them, I should say, into more positive coverage. And it looks like The View got the message loud and clear.
The question is, why don't people want to hear the good news for a change? You know, is that what we need to hear when something good is happening here?
You said, you know, that people are not picking up on the good stuff. I believe that that's because the media is not portraying him as a winner. They are minimizing what he is doing. When the chips are down, Americans are going to understand that if Republicans take control of this country again, we are done as a country. We are done.
Now,
believe it.
And they actually applaud. What do you say, Jesse?
It's an enlightened crowd.
You might want to go on that one.
I know. For the next book, we might have to do The View. Do you realize how bad things must be for a Democrat president to be begging Democrats in the media for better spin? Haven't they done enough, Judge? I mean, they spiked the laptop, they ignore the border, they cheerlead all of his mandates, and they write stories like, why inflation is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what else could they do? It's like me telling Johnny, like, Johnny, you have to do more. You're really not doing enough. Like, what else could Johnny do? Breastfeed Jesse Jr.? Honestly, I mean, if he could, I'd ask for it. But the thing that's going on here is this. Biden has some nerve to ask the press. He doesn't even talk to the press. He turns around like he's deaf every time he's finished talking. He's done 2 sit-down interviews since May. Last time I checked, it's December. What does he do? He clowns around at a town hall with Lemon or Cooper the whole time. He hasn't even sat down with the AP, Reuters, Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and then he complains about bad coverage. He's not selling his agenda because he's a poor communicator. And so his team is going to all the journalists and saying, can you be a little bit more like Jen Psaki? Try to be a little bit more like Jen. And if he had good results, those results would sell themselves. If he was reducing crime, inflation, illegal immigration, COVID cases, he'd get better coverage.
They're saying he's not communicating properly. Is he not communicating properly, or is Jesse right that he has limited the number of interviews and is continuing his campaign bunker strategy?
I have to imagine that if I were those newsrooms that got one of these visits, I would say, excuse me? Because we haven't heard from him. We haven't even talked to him. Like, we can ask Jen Psaki questions. She's the press secretary. She's very available, and she answers all the questions. You might not like the answers, but that's what they are. He's not selling it. And I read these headlines. Biden's communicators are to blame. No, they're not. And also, they miss opportunities all the time, but it comes from the top. For example, the other day, they could have had a great press conference and said, guess what? Omicron, not as lethal as we thought. Yep. So this is great news. And in fact, guess what? You're not going to have to wear a mask on a plane. Something like that. Like, they could make decisions based on science, actually, that would help them. But this is the same White House that demanded better coverage for the amazing airlift they did out of Afghanistan. It's like people were falling off of planes. This is the White House that said that Republicans were the ones that wanted to defund the police. They had to backtrack on that. They said that inflation wasn't happening. Then they said, well, it's just transitory. When people are basically seeing in their own lives, but also in the statistics that come out. So I got to hand it to them. Like, to go in, like, they know that they have a problem, so that they're going to go in. I don't think that it's going to change, though. The View saying we should all be happy and celebrate the wins is not going to change the fact that when you're at the grocery store and you see somebody in front of you that basically is like counting up the items and having to put away the Rice Krispie treat ingredients. And I heard this from a Democrat on the Against the Grain podcast. That stuff's real.
It is real. But Greg, what about the allegation that the press is underselling the good news? What is the good news?
It's hilarious. I mean, this reminds me of a guy going to another guy and pleading with him to talk him up in front of a girl he likes, right?
Who hasn't done that?
Yeah, exactly. I do that, when I talk to the CEO at Fox about Jesse. Jesse's really coming along. But you got to be total. I mean, think about it when The View becomes your public relations arm.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the cast from Teen Mom was busy because, I mean, it's amazing how almost like robotic that was. But I love also how this is posed as a secret meeting behind the scenes, as if it acknowledges the fact that the Biden White House is indeed a facade, like a storefront from an episode of Gunsmoke, and you just right behind that's just fake.
Yeah.
It's all this other stuff going on. They don't know what the hell's going on. I just long for the good old days when Trump would talk to anybody and everybody. You knew exactly what he was thinking. And of course, he did call. The only people he called in the news were commentariats, right? He never like went to the heart. He didn't call up anybody. He didn't call up Brett Baer. I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
He called
Everyone,
okay.
including Maggie Haberman.
But everything he said on the phone, he would say on TV.
Yeah.
Joe doesn't talk to anybody except for himself when he's muttering in the yard.
Yeah, all right, Jessica. Now, think about it. The White House has 3 of their senior officials trying to talk to the press. And the one that I thought was most interesting to persuade the press to give them better coverage was the ports envoy. Yeah, I guess he's going to tell them the supply chain problem isn't as bad as we think it is.
Well, ports are top of mind for people.
Yeah.
Because
So
of the
what's
supply
the
chain.
good news?
Well, the good news, I thought this was interesting. Today, Joe Manchin put out this, he carries around a card of the administration's accomplishments. Joe Manchin, who I find to be relentlessly negative, actually, in terms of Democratic causes, actually walks around with this and talks about the COVID Relief Act, talks about the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act.
Money.
People need money, and they like money, and Republicans love money more than Democrats do, so that should be a good thing.
No, this money's going, well, go ahead.
They clearly know there's a problem, and there were 2 things today that struck my interest on this front. 1, that Joe Manchin carries around this card, and 2, the Monmouth poll that showed that inflation and kitchen table issues are top of mind for basically every voter, no matter your partisan affiliation. And that's what they're having to run against. And having a ports envoy have this conversation, or people who aren't Joe Biden, who I think does actually pretty well in these interviews, is not going to hack it for the American public. And so that needs to switch around before the midterms come around, and people want to see their president.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.